All right, so originally what I was going to do is work from what we made last time, which was this guy right here, um, and kind of go from there. But honestly, I think it would be more work to try and rework what we created than it would be to just um, sort of build it from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a new one. So just do File New, um, Show Later. Thanks for that. I'm just going to go ahead and do iPhone 12 Max again, or yeah, 12 Pro Max again, because I feel like that one would make sense. And we're going to kind of build it from here. So one thing I want to do is I'm going to actually make, just so we're getting set up, just in general, to make everything basically look nice and correct, as I want to get my colors and my character styles together. And what that is basically the colors we can just use to repeat over and over again so that we stay on brand, and character styles are basically to make sure that all of my text is the same. Okay, so I'm actually going to make a new artboard, and I'm just going to make it like this size, and I'm just going to go ahead and rename it, and we'll just call this brand. Okay, we're not going to use it for anything other than just to put our colors in and our other things. Okay, so right off the bat, if you're good with color and you feel good about it, you can kind of do this on your own. What I'm going to do, because this is one of the areas where I am weak, and where you are weak, get help. So what you can do is if you go to color.adobe.com, so it's color.adobe.com, it's going to bring you to this, okay? And this is a super handy tool. Right off the bat, I would rather use the dark theme because, come on, it's 2021. Had to check there. All these years and stuff seem to go by. So what I'm going to do is basically look at this and use this as a guide. So we have analogous, monochromatic. If you remember your color scheme stuff, it'll basically follow these patterns in order to create a color scheme. Typically, I would just suggest using the analogous, and then you can kind of switch these around and you can move them and it will shift and give you proper color. Okay, so if you feel good with color, go ahead and use this. This is a good way of going. You may not find that you're good with color, such as myself. So they do have this extract theme, and so what you can do is you can actually drop and drag an image, and it will take that and use it as a way to find color. So I don't really have one with me, so I'm just going to use this thing. We'll say, so I'm save image as, and I'll save it to the desktop, and we'll hit save. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just go to show in folder, and I am going to drop this in here. And you're going to see it will automatically create a color scheme from your image. So this is super handy if, like, let's say you have, let's say you already have a brand, like you have somebody, like you're making a mock-up site for like Nike or something. You could take a photo of some of their clothing or maybe even a site or something, and it will automatically find those colors and give you a color scheme that would work. And you can see there's different variations, so you could try these different ones. But let's say you have like a blouse, right? And you're like, oh, I really like the way that this blouse looks, like the patterns and the colors and stuff. You could actually just sample that, or if you try to make a site and it's supposed to look like an 80s site, maybe find like an 80s poster or something, and then again sample from it, and you can sort of, borrow, using air quotes here, the colors from it and get it from there, right? Which is really great. They also have these accessibility tools that'll give you an idea of how well the stuff is reading. We want to make sure that we're trying to make our stuff ADA compliant, meaning Americans with Disabilities Act compliant, so that people who have a hard time, seeing will be able to read our work. Okay, so be a good person. Maybe try to use this too. What I'm going to do instead is I'm not going to use any of these things because I'm terrible, and I'm going to go to trends. Also, you can save these in your library. I don't think I'm logged in though, am I? It doesn't look like it. But you'll see later on, so you can see my library. Maybe I am logged in. Am I logged in? Well, anyway. But basically what it does, if you go to trends, you can scroll through, and it will give you basically these color trends that they see in the industry and stuff. This is one of those things where if you work at a really big company, they actually make these. There'll be like a color trend team. And what they'll do is they'll go through a bunch of magazines and stuff, and they'll find like basically where the trends are. So I worked at Fisher Price, and we had like a big meeting that we would have like at I don't know, every year or something. And what they would do is they would basically, there's a group of people, and they'd go through all these magazines and stuff, and they would find colors that we would use. I'm sure you probably noticed that when you see like toys from Fisher Price, like that purple is the purple on everything, and this yellow is the yellow on everything. And that's because what they do is they make basically these color libraries, and everybody uses them in order to maintain and stay on brand. But they are informed to make those design choices by basically looking around and seeing what's happening. So first one's fashion. So if I was doing a fashion site or something like that, or a fashion mobile app, I would use this. You can see, click on more to do even more. There's a graphic design one, right? You can see it's a lot more punchy. Got some Illustrator ones, right? That's very colorful. Architecture, it's oddly colorful. I didn't think it'd be. I'm surprised at how diminutive that is. Game design, right? Pretty colorful. That's what I would expect. Wilderness, flavor, travel. There's a whole bunch of these, right? And they're all, I would say, acceptable. Don't really, to be honest with you, I'm not really like super. I kind of like these ones better, the fashion ones up here. All right, so let's go. Those aren't really working for me, to be honest. Let's see, architecture, game design. Let's do game design because that's kind of. I'm just gonna picture something more in that round. I want something that's a little bit not so hurtful on my. Here, we'll go with this one. So I could do a couple of things. I could hit to add to library, and that will add to my library. And then when I'm in Adobe XD, we can actually import it from our library. So I can click on View Libraries and then grab it in from there. But that's a lot of steps, and I'm assuming you guys probably don't really want to do that anyway. We can also just download as a JPEG, or if you click on it, it's going to bring up this thing. And then if you click on these, it'll actually copy the hex code, the little number on the bottom there, in order for you to apply it. Okay, so, and you can also download the things here, right? So copy a CSS if you're doing web design, various things here. Okay, so we can use basically this. I'm gonna steal this and use it on mine, and we'll go from there. Okay, so trying to think of the best way to do this. I am gonna go ahead and let's just download as a JPEG, and there it is right there. So I'm just gonna go ahead, and that's not what I meant to do. So now I got to go here and let me see, downloads, and it's got to be this one. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to, actually, I minimize that. I'm going to have this here. I'm going to minimize that, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag it into here. Okay, so here it is right there. I don't really need to actually have it open. This will probably just be easier. I'm just going to scale this down. I'm just going to hold Shift, and let's grab it, put it over here. Okay. And I'm just gonna, I can't actually sample the colors like this because this is a raster image. It needs them not like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a swatch. Okay, so I'll just draw a little swatch here. I'm just gonna hold Shift so it stays square. It's not like it actually matters, but it bothers me. Turn off the border. I'm just gonna go ahead and let's do 5. And for the fill color, I'm just gonna hit this little thing and I'm gonna sample this color. Okay, so let's move this one over. We'll put it right here. I'm just going to hold Alt and Shift. So Alt will make a duplicate. Shift will just keep it in line. We'll go like that. While I have this one selected, hit this. Boom. Going to hold Alt and Shift. Again. Sample. Boom. All right. Alt and Shift. Good. Sample. Boom. And then just one more. Alt and Shift. Okay. And sample and oops. Oh, that's the wrong one. Boom. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, don't need this anymore, so it might be handy. Let's do this. We'll keep it here. I'll put it right underneath because it does have the hex code numbers underneath it if for some reason I want it. But here's what's neat. Watch this. If I click on this, and if I hit colors and hit the plus, it's going to take everything that's in here and automatically fill them in. Now, I could have just grabbed this one specific element, hit the plus, and it will add that. But since I needed all of them, it'll actually just auto-populate that. And you can see it by default named it what the hex code color is. But if I wanted to, for some reason, say like, this is my accent color, this is the primary color, this is the background color, I could do that as well. Just double-click and change the name. I'm going to leave them like that for right now, but just be aware that that may or may not be helpful to you. Okay. So the next thing I need to do is get some text going on here. All right, so sorry, I was trying something else here. So we need to get some text. Basically what we want to do is we want to create 2 typefaces. We want one for our body text and we want one for our heading text. The heading text is basically the one that especially has to be on brand. It's oftentimes it mimics or complements whatever the logo font typeface is. And it's the one that will draw the user in. It's usually a little bit more fanciful. Our body text, you can't be as exploratory or as interesting with it. Typically, you want that to be something that's just easy to read. That again complements and matches the rest of what you're looking at here. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on that. So I'm going to go to my type tool here, and we're going to click on this, and I'm going to try out different fonts. So let's go to my layers. All right, so let's go ahead and click here, and let's just type in teach me cone. All right, so there's that font. I'm just gonna make sure I have it. Oops, there we go. Selected, and let's make it bigger. So I'll say 36. Okay, that's pretty large. And then let's just see what we can sample through here. So you might have different ones available here. There we go. Down arrow. Okay, apparently got unselected. There it goes. Okay, so I'm just going to click through, and I want to find something that I feel is going to read well. Not this one. You probably don't want to watch me do this, but basically what I want you to do is just go through and find a font that you think is going to work for a title that will work well. So if you're having a hard time choosing a font, I have a hard time choosing a font. What I would suggest is actually, this is what I was doing earlier. I'm just closed out of it. Again, you can go on here, and what I'm going to do this time is do fonts.google.com. Let's click this off. And what you can do is basically you can find a font that might work here. So you can organize them by serif, meaning it has extra little things like this one. This is a serif font. Sans serif means it's a very clean font with nothing, just kind of it's minimalist, if you will. Display is usually your fun kind of font, where it's like this is kind of a display font. And handwriting is meant to mimic handwriting. You could argue this might be handwriting too. And monospace just means that they are every letter is exactly the same width. Okay, so it basically looks like a typewriter. We use it for coding, what have you. Okay, so if you have a hard time finding one, you can go in here, and then you might be able to find something in here. Now, whether you'll have this on your computer already, I don't know. But you might be able to find something in here, and then that might be a good starting point. A lot of times, too, when you select one, so let's say we grab like this one, it's not doing it now. Let me see, about, let's select styles. Let's say you select this style. It used to give you the complement, but it's not really doing that. So anyway, I kind of like this one. I was looking at it. Oh, so the main reason why we want to use this was you can actually sort it by most popular and trending. Which I know, I'm like, oh, we want to do stuff that's interesting and unique, and it's just ours, and I still think you should do that. It's helpful to, you're trying to make something that looks present and recent, and with the times and what have you. So if you can find a font that's kind of trending, it's a good starting point. So I kind of liked this one, so I'm going to look for something sort of like this that's very clean, and then I'll just use probably something kind of similar. For my body text. Okay, so rather than having you watch me do this, I'm going to pause the video, and then when I find mine, I'll show you. Right, so I'm just going to go ahead and look for. I might do this just so it reads a little bit easier for me, or maybe we'll do. I'm going to do heading 1. Okay, so I'm going to type that, and then I'm going to look for something that will read well there, and then when I find a good heading, I will show you. Okay, so I kind of like this heading. This seemed fine. I just went with, let me see, it'll show you, Lilawadi UI. Well, it says UI right in the name, right? So you know. So I'm just going to go with that. And then what I'm going to do now is just look and try to make a body text. I'm just going to put this box right underneath it. And I'm going to change the font size considerably smaller. Let's try doing 12, which might be a little bit too small. I need to basically use some sort of lorem ipsum. I showed you guys in class, so I'm just going to go in here. So if you just type in lipsum.com, there's lots of other ones like Cat Lipsum and Rap Lipsum, and I think it might be like Star Wars. I'm just going to generate a little bit of lorem ipsum here, and I'm just going to grab a whole piece here, Control C. Command C, obviously, if you're on a Mac, and I'm just going to Control V to paste it. And I'm going to truncate this because I actually don't need all of that. It works sort of like InDesign, if you remember that before. Let's get a little bit closer here because I'm like super far away from this. So we'll say that that's good. And now what I want to do is basically find a body font that will go well with this heading font, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so when I find that, I'll let you know. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with that for my my body text. Okay, and we're just gonna kind of line those up. Let's just line this all up so it's a little bit cleaner. Okay, line that up and then line that up. Okay, so that looks fine. So now what I want to do is I need to do subheadings as well. So I'm just gonna take this guy and I'm just gonna Alt and hold Shift as well, and we're gonna put this heading 2. And I'm just going to grab it, and instead of 36, let's do 24. Is that enough? That's probably good enough. Okay, that's fine. And I don't really need to do this, but I'm just going to do it. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Go back here. I think I hit Alt Tab. I meant to do Alt Shift. So I'm going to hold Alt and Shift. I'm just going to pull this down here. That's fine. And then we're just going to take this again in Alt and Shift. And we'll do heading 3. So 3, and I'm just going to grab that, and let's say 18, so it's a little bit less, but not crazy less. And I'm just going to grab this again, and Alt and Shift, and put that under there again. Okay. And we'll call that good for right now. I mean, you might want to do more than what I did here, so maybe I would have like an accent, like a quotes font as well. But I don't think I'm going to need that right now, so we'll just call this good. Now, from here, what I want to do is I can just add these as character sets. That's what the next thing is here. So I'm going to go back to my assets. So you can see now I have these colors. However, I can actually link these also to what my colors are here. So I have these colors. So I got to think about what do I want to use for my background, and where do I want to go from there. So I'm picturing maybe for, I think usually darker backgrounds I think look a little bit nicer than the lighter ones. So I'm picturing maybe the heading being, did I do it twice? Or actually, this is, how did this one change color? So we'll take this, and I'm just going to click on that. So you can see you can change the colors real quickly just by doing that. Somehow I must have, which one is it? This one. I must have switched it over. But, okay. So I'm thinking what would make the most sense. I'm trying to picture what would read best. I'll probably end up doing white for the body text, but I'm thinking this color for the background. And then for my heading text, probably what one like sticks out more. I don't know if it would be this or this. This is obviously more complementary. So we'll do the main heading text. I'm going to do this color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and then we'll hit this. That'll change the color. Then we'll grab this one. Actually, let's do this too. I want this background just so I can see the text better. I'm going to select the brand, and then I'm going to go ahead and do, oh no, we're going to do this one. Do this for my background color, which, oops. Now I can't see it. I thought I hit spacebar. Now I can't really see it, but okay, so that looks fine. Then we're going to grab this one, and I'm going to say the heading 2. Let's go ahead and do this color. And then heading 3, we will do this color as well. I feel like it should still be the same. And then this, I probably should make a new color for, so I'm just going to go here, and we'll do like a not quite full white color. We'll do like that. I think looks good. Okay, so I'm going to select this, and I'm actually just going to hit the plus, and that's going to add that color right there. Looks good. I feel like white would be a little too bright, so I'm going to go a little bit muted, nothing too crazy. Okay, I'm going to select this one, click on that, select this one, undo the little move there, click on that. Okay, now I have my headings, and I have this. So now what I want to do is I just want to add these two here. So I'm going to select this one, I'm going to hit plus, and then we'll select this one, hit plus, select this one, and hit plus. And then what I'm going to do is select this last and hit plus. Now you can see what it does is it's making the names based off of, reorganize this so it's a little more obvious. And this guy, and then this guy. Okay. So it's making the name just like these did, but I would rather actually have these named properly. So I'm going to call this one H1 for heading 1. And we're going to call this H2 for heading 2. And H3 for heading 3. And then we'll just call this body. Let's do a capital B so it matches everything else. Body. Okay, so now I have these character styles, and I can use those as well to create my various things. But you can see, oops, I basically made my branding here, and I can use that as a good starting point. It all matches. It's all worked together. I have it all right here. The last things I need basically are components, like my icons, basically, in order to, in order to populate the rest of my stuff here. So we might do that in the next one, but at least now we have a good starting point.